according to Impact Plastics' response, they are not responsible for Johnny Peterson's death because he did exit the building with other employees during the day of the floods. According to the lawsuit, Impact Plastics was aware of Hurricane Helene, but say their business was not at risk for significant flooding. It wasn't until the power went out around 10:30 that morning that action was taken to evacuate the building. Quote, within approximately 10 to 12 minutes after the power went out, management decided to close down the factory for the day and gave instructions to employees to depart. End quote. Gerald O'Connor, CEO of Impact Plastics, denies that any managers or supervisors told employees they could not leave. It is then stated that employees, including Peterson, left the building but decided to go back into the flooded parking lot. Quote, every person who was eventually trapped by the flooding could have either driven out or walked to safety, either onto the interstate or onto the railroad tracks until at least 12 p.m., end quote. Impact Plastics claims that they are not responsible for Peterson's death because, quote, Mr. Peterson's decision to go back across the flooded parking lot to where others were congregating on the road after helping Mr. O'Connor and others reach safety on the railroad tracks was made voluntary and in the absence of any direction or request by any of his superiors. Impact was not responsible for his actions, and it is not liable for the injuries or damages alleged in this action, end quote.
Look, if you see a disaster coming, whether it's a flood, a fire, any of that kind of thing, you need to be acting in advance to make sure that your employees are safe and gone. And if somebody is still, in the facility and somebody gets in trouble, some kind of circumstances like that, it is foreseeable that another employee would try to come to the rescue of another. And I think that there'd be liability, for another employee trying to rescue somebody, to try and help somebody. All of that is completely foreseeable. If the company hasn't taken measures and efforts to make sure that their employees are out of that area and safe, then the employer very well may have a lot of liability for any injuries or deaths that may result. This particular case, it looks like it's more of a question of fact. Did the employer get the employees out of that area and get them to safety in a reasonable time? It sounds like there may have been other employees that came back or didn't leave, and that some sort of rescue was attempted. So it's really more, again, a question of the facts in this case, and at this point, nobody can tell exactly what those are. So really the lesson to be taken from it is if you have employees, you see a disaster coming or some potential danger to your employees, you have a duty and obligation to get them safely away from that. Otherwise, you will be held liable. So look out for your employees. That's the bottom line. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And while you're down there, please like and subscribe. Thanks again for watching.